Hi there, we're here with Charlotte Casey of Code Pink. Charlotte, can you tell us why we're out here today?
Because the U.S. is supporting a coup in Venezuela, and we're tired of people from the CIA infiltrating and planning to overthrow elected governments in so many countries. And the fact that Venezuela has a lot of oil, that's not just a coincidence.
Do you think this is the continuation of the wars that we've been waging in the Middle East as well?
No question, absolutely. Wars for oil. And we have to stop intervening in the affairs of other countries.
Excellent.
And in this situation, there needs to be a negotiated settlement. Even the Pope is saying that. Not overthrowing the existing government.
Does this mean that Code Pink supports the Maduro government?
Some people support it, some people say no matter what is wrong with that government, there needs to be a negotiated settlement, not an overthrow of a government that was elected democratically.
Excellent. Thank you, Charlotte. Hi there, we're here with Nasim Nouri of the Green Party of Santa Clara County. Nasim, can you tell us why we're out here?
We are out here to oppose the U.S. intervention and the coup that's happening right now as we stand here in Venezuela. Venezuela's legal and democratically conducted elections have been finalized, and the neoliberal policies that have pushed war and intervention before are at work again on the U.S. part. We now have supported a coup in Venezuela, and we are going to destabilize that country. At least, let me correct myself. The government of U.S. is destabilizing that country, and we are opposed to that. We are opposed to any war and any intervention and any coups orchestrated by the U.S. in any country.
Do you think it's hypocritical that we question the elections in Venezuela when we have problems with our own elections?
Boy, do I think it's hypocritical, yes. And I think the Russiagate narrative that has been shoved through the media and becomes resurrected over and over is also hypocritical. The fact is there's no evidence still that our elections were impacted by Russia meddling, yet a 50-year history of U.S. meddling in other countries' elections is being swept under the rug. This is another example of that.
Thank you. And what about sanctions? Do you support sanctions to countries that are not or are deemed socialist or don't fall in line with our government?
Sanctions are a really valuable tool to oppose governments that have non-humanitarian practices and are apartheid government, but they are not a tool to penalize governments that have democratically elected governments and have socialist policies. We have no business doing that.
Excellent. Thank you, Nasim. Hi there. We're out here with David Ledesma of One Voice. David, can you tell us what we're doing out here?
Well, today is a protest against the U.S. coup d'etat in Venezuela to support the democratically elected President Nicolas Maduro.
Our government believes that the elections there are illegitimate. Do you think they have any evidence of that?
Well, they don't have any evidence because last May of 2018 there was a democratic election, and Nicolas Maduro won that election. It was run by the Constitution of Venezuela, and the U.S. just didn't like the result. So they want a coup d'etat in Venezuela to take over the country because there's probably the largest oil reserves in the country, in the world.
Do you think it's hypocritical that we question their elections when we have problems with our own elections?
Yeah, we've had problems with our elections for a number of years. I mean, it's recently going back as 2000 with the hanging chads and all that, where Gore really won the popular vote, but the Supreme Court, ruled against the American public and gave the election to Bush. So we've had problems with our elections all along, but it's like anytime America does something, it's okay, but if the rest of the world does the same thing, then it's bad.
So we criticize Venezuela's economy, but do you think our sanctions are the cause of their bad economy?
Well, the Venezuelan economy started to tank when the Saudis flooded the market with oil. and that really impacted them because that's their main industry is oil. And the United States, just like they've been doing to other countries around the world, Iran, Russia, they just figured, well, we'll just starve them. We'll put sanctions on them and we'll bring them to their knees until the people are so desperate that they will march in the streets against the government. So that's what the United States is trying to do in Venezuela. They're starving Venezuela. They already had a troubled economy, and they made it even worse by bringing in sanctions, which would not allow food and necessary medicines to come into the country. So they're starving the Venezuelan people, hoping that they'll rise up against the president and overthrow him. But Maduro was recently, just a day or two ago, endorsed by the military, saying that they still back him. And they're not going to recognize, they recognize there's a coup d'etat going on. They're not stupid.
So do you think Russia has a role in this coup d'etat, or not in the coup d'etat? Not in the coup d'etat, but what do you think Russia's role in Venezuela is?
See, I think that's the scary thing that a lot of people don't realize, is that, you know, Russia has completed a helicopter maintenance building, a warehouse in Venezuela. Just a couple weeks ago, 2 gigantic Russian bombers that are able to carry nuclear missiles landed in Venezuela and unloaded equipment. Also, the Russians right now have an agreement with the Venezuelan government to build a military base, a Russian military base off the coast of Venezuela on a Venezuelan island. So that's a very desperate situation. The United States is really provoking a war here because the coup d'etat is illegal, and Russia has interest in Venezuela. They've already got them there. They're established. And China has got billions of dollars of loans with Venezuelan government. So, you know, if the U.S. goes in and tries to be successful with a coup d'etat, the Chinese and the Russians are not going to sit back. And, you know, they're going to defend their interests in Venezuela. So that's what makes this really scary. And I think that a lot of people don't realize what's at stake here. All of those details I just explained. American public, you know, listening to the corporate news may say, oh, you know, it was an illegitimate election, or, oh, he's a dictator. But you realize what's really going to happen here? This could be World War III. So it's a dangerous situation. The Russians have interests there, and you can bet that they're going to protect those interests. I don't think they're just going to walk away.
Right. So David Ledesma is the lead organizer out here today. Thank you, David, for organizing this, and thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.